So welcome to another 4GWE and TMC telecast, and I'm here with Fred Kemmerer, who is the CTO and EVP of Genband. So first of all, tell us a little bit about what's been going on with Genband. What are your customers looking for you now? I think of you guys as being kind of leaders in the session controller world, but I'm sure there's more to it than that. So what's going on right now?
Right, sure. So Genband has, for a long period of time, as you mentioned, been a leader in gateway technology. We're very, very widely deployed across the world in both fixed and mobile networks, next generation cores, and so on. We've been typically number one or two share leader in almost all the segments we participate in now for over a year and a half, and we've grown very, very rapidly. Our customers are very interested in evolving their networks to an all-IP, content-centric world, and they're counting on us to provide technology that will help them do that evolution in a very smooth and investment protection-based manner.
Okay, and what's the overall transition? Is it more mobility? Is it more bandwidth for video? Where are they driving?
Yeah, there's really a couple trends, and I think you hit on a number of the major ones. On the consumer side, the game is rapidly becoming about mobile and broadband access, and also mobile broadband access. Putting the two together is also extremely important. We've seen some just amazing statistics since we've had kind of the smartphone revolution hit the market over the last 2 years. You know, we've seen one smartphone manufacturer, for example, go to almost 1 billion downloads, and then actually almost double that within a quarter. We've seen an explosion of content delivery over the internet, and the internet becoming a tool for entertainment video, very important trend. And we've also seen, in the midst of this, a real strong desire to reinvest and revitalize the voice cores and get them ready for fixed mobile convergence and content-centric services. So a lot of moving pieces for our customers to deal with all at once, and it makes it a very challenging problem for them to invest in infrastructure that will carry them through all of that uncertainty and provide good investment protection for them as all this change goes on.
Okay, so you keep bringing up the investment side. So where are you investing? Where do you spend your time thinking about it? I think you guys having some of your own chipsets, but what else is?
Yeah, we're actually investing in sort of two directions at once. We're spending a lot of money to develop some brand new pure IP platforms. We've announced 2 new products in the last year, both of them based on ATCR S2 and S9, a high-density session border control platform, and also a high-scale, what the industry calls security gateway, which is the point in the network that will terminate femtocells and Wi-Fi access for mobile devices. Those are both big new initiatives. We're also investing heavily in some of the technologies that will enable this IP transition, things like session border controllers, high-scale encryption platforms. We're looking at traffic management tools like deep packet inspection, as well as how we can combine these technologies together to create new applications and new services like multimedia transcoding.
Well, okay, so let's take that. I'm assuming that that's happening towards that security function where you're doing the front-end processing towards the HSS, or are we in the core over by where the network operators got the tandems and those kind of functionalities?
Right, yeah, these are more core functions. Genband's strength has always been inside the core of the network and at the boundaries, the sort of gateway points that surround it. The multimedia transcoding is a great example of this, based on our historical expertise in media gateways, which is really all about high-density application of coding to interwork IP traffic to the PSTN or TDM world of the existing phone network. We've taken that expertise and leveraged some of these new platform investments that I'm talking about to build a very high-density, flexible solution for providing these kinds of services in the all-IP world.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, when we have a world where more and more of the end users are talking to each other on mobile phones within the same network, which many of the providers' plans have been encouraging, you less and less need to jump onto the PSTN and through a normal media gateway to complete those calls. So what we've done is we've basically allowed our customers who've invested in our platforms to redeploy those as centralized transcoders, only take the calls or the sessions in the case of video through those devices when it's necessary, and we're now extending that to include applications like adapting content from the internet that might be designed for a large screen TV to things like mobile devices. So that's kind of how we've one example of how we've provided investment protection during the evolution to an all IP world.
So back in the early days of Genband, you guys were actually kind of edge controller type services and that kind of functionality. Is there a logical transition from that world to the femtocell, or is there a difference there?
Yeah, that's a great question. We actually found the femtocell market through our media gateway position initially. Genband was very heavily involved in the early market stages, maybe a year and a half ago, of simply adapting the IP world of femtocells to existing ATM and TDM cores that the mobile operators were trying to operate their early trials off of. With our acquisition of NextPoint Networks, we expanded our presence to include a high-scale IP encryption platform that also now enables us to complete more of the home node B gateway solution that looks to be the thing that carriers are going to want for large-scale deployment of this stuff. Again, on our basic theme of handling all of the boundaries of the network as well as the internal media and signaling pieces, that was a very natural fit for us.
So let me ask you one more question about the transcoding stuff, and that is specifically, right now we've got a plethora of codecs that are kind of chasing us in the marketplace.
Yep.
Is there any consolidation, any dominance? Is H.264 becoming a kind of a video functionality, and what are you looking at for that kind of functionality?
Actually, I think the situation on codecs is just changing. It's not actually getting simpler or more complicated, it's just changing. So you do have, for example, in the mobile world, the current generation codecs tend to be centering around a handful of codecs, so that's helping. But at the same time, internet content is becoming a much bigger part of the carriage on networks, and there's a tremendous variation in the wrapper formats, the coding schemes, the screen formats, and all sorts of new issues that come with that. This is actually very good for Genband. Our fundamental strength, or one of them, has always been high density, very flexible transcoding. You know, we pretty much do every codec in the industry. We've even recently implemented things like satellite codecs for some of the new generation of satellite phones that are coming onto the market. So essentially that whole codec ongoing evolutionary process really plays to one of our best strengths, I think.
Good. So Fred, if people wanted to find out more about Genband, how would they do that?
They can contact us through our website, www.genband.com, or contact us through our headquarters in Plano, Texas.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Really appreciate it.
Thank you.